Initializing.
Welcome to Infinite Guides. I am Zacubus, and this is the guidebook, or the jungle book for lesson 3, or welcome to the jungle. This is basically the beginner's guide into the jungle of Infinite Crisis, as it can be quite the difficult learning curve for new players to learn the jungle. It feels safer to go in the lane, even though you've just picked probably the best jungle hero in the game. You just don't know how to play it, and so you tend to just go in the lane. It's like, don't fear the jungle, just try it. There's some advice I'm going to give you right now, which I think are the top tier junglers right now. So we've got Atomic Wonder Woman, we've got Atomic Poison Ivy, we've got Gaslight Catwoman, and we've also got Nightmare Batman. These 4 guys are absolutely fantastic at clearing out the jungle very quickly, also having enough crowd control or gap closures to actually do some really fantastic ganks and sort of dominate the lanes and help your teammates out. Now, there are some that are okay as well, you know, the other junglers in here that you can use and that you can experiment in your own time after this guide and sort of get a feel for them. And these are the tier 2 guys. Now, I would have put Doomsday in the tier 1, but I find that new players always find it difficult to gap close with him because it's all about positioning, really. It's really hard to get in the right position to slam them against the wall using that charge ability and knock somebody down and get the guaranteed gank, because if you get it slightly wrong, what ends up happening is that you either push them away from your teammates that were doing damage to them, or you end up pushing them into a tower or just giving them a space to actually escape from the gank. So it's rather annoying. You need some good items in there like the Speed Force battery or Amulet of Isis to actually get in a little bit closer and position yourself closer. But anyways, try him later on. Basically try him as your next level up when you want to learn some more difficult junglers, and that's what the blue tier are. They're okay at jungle, but they're slightly slower. You won't get your levels as fast, and some of the gap closures are a little bit sort of unpredictable in terms of how you can actually achieve them. So let's talk about the guys that should never ever be in the jungle. These guys are red for a reason. They're meant to be played in the lane. They have better utilities there. Some people say Flash is a good jungler, but he is far too slow. It will take forever. It's better to sit him in a lane and sort of passively get experience and credits there instead, I feel. And a lot of players might agree with me. Some might not, but you know, if you're good at jungling with Flash, then try it. But I think he's terrible personally. But yeah. So let's now talk about some of the stolen powers that you need. Now, as a beginner jungler, I would highly recommend Consume. It gives 225 damage to the drone that you select, but also heals you back for 50 HP as well, or health. Or if you use Nightmare Batman's, you actually get 65 health back. And if you use Atomic Green Lantern's Consume, you get a movement speed buff, but you won't get as much health back. But just to note that any stolen power has a different alternative relating to a champion. So it's always better to upgrade it. So I'm going to use Nightmare Batman's here because it's slightly stronger. So always bear that in mind. But you always have the level 1 stolen powers available to you. And for my second stolen power, I'm going to pick Detonate. This thing is really good. Works very similar to Consume, but does an AoE damage. It can also slow and damage enemy champions if they're near a drone when it explodes, or an object that's around them explodes that you use it on. It can do some damage to them as well. And there's Joker and Harley Quinn's detonates as well, which do 2 different things. One slows and one does slightly more damage using power damage scaling. So important to note, but you know, always get good stolen powers for the jungle, and I would say that these 2 are the best, but a lot of teams out there are trying different things. At the moment we're seeing more detonates and teleports on Gotham Divided, because Gotham Divided is a huge map and the junglers need to get in positions where they can actually gank properly. So that seems to be the current trend in the meta at the moment, going teleport and detonate. Detonate will clear out a jungle camp a lot quicker than Consume will. But since we're beginners here, we're going to go with Consume and Detonate. Now, there is advanced tweaking that you can be doing with the mods and amplifiers kits, but since this is a beginner's guide, I don't want to sort of blow your minds talking about damages and attack speeds and changing up your mods on your weapon so you can do things a lot earlier and better and stuff. It gets confusing, and most people just want to dive into a game and play. So there will be a lesson about the mods and amplifiers later on in the series. Now, while loading up, we can analyse what we're going to be up against in the jungle, if we're going to run into any other junglers. For instance, like Doomsday's been picked, but when I look at all the stolen powers on the opposite team to me, I look like I'm in the clear. It looks like nobody's going to go jungle. There is no consume out there, so nobody's familiar with playing the jungle. This means that I can actually invade earlier on and actually steal the enemy's jungle, and this will give me a huge boost to experience and gold, and also capitalizing on their power-ups as well. I'll go into more details about invading in a minute, but first off, let's talk about the items that you're going to be building on Nightmare Batman. So you want Marauder Knife, Marauder Shield, and then you want 3 health packs. Now, the reason I picked up these items is because the Marauder Knife does extra damage to the jungle drones. It also bypasses armor, making them easier to kill. The Marauder Shield does a little bit of damage as well, and also blocks 5 damage incoming from the drones. Also some health bonuses on there as well, and the 3 health pots is basically just to give me some sustain. I don't need any will regen because I use energy as Nightmare Batman, so he has great sustain, and you never have to back with him if you build up that Marauder Knife really quickly. On the other hand, if you're going to build a power damage champion, you need to get the Modular Tactile Vial, which actually gives health and will restore. And also the Marauder Ring instead of the Marauder Knife, as that does more power damage to the jungle drones, which you're more skill dependent when you're jungling with, say, Atomic Green Lantern, where he has to slam things down with his skills. Whereas Nightmare Batman, he's just going to attack with his auto attacks most of the time. Now, let's go back to talking about invading. Now, at the moment, I am currently in enemy territory, waiting for their drones to spawn so I can steal them. This is detrimental to the blue team that we're playing against, as it will steal one of their power-ups away. It also gives me experience a lot quicker. As you can see, I'm on the blue side of the map, deep in enemy territory, hence it's called an invade. And, you know, you can do an invade to steal drones and objectives, or you could do it to go after enemy champions and get the first blood straight away. But for now, me and Star Sapphire are actually going to take out this health destroyer, and having Star Sapphire actually do some of the damage here early on really helps me out, because I don't have to waste as many stolen powers, so I can use them on harder camps later on. And she's giving me all the experience and all the credits, so I can level up so much quicker. She will lose experience and credits herself by not being in the mid lane at the start, but because she's helping me out, I should be able to help her out a little bit quicker by ganking and getting possession of that lane a little bit quicker for her as well, just from that start. So, you know, if you help your teammates out like that, it's really going to help those junglers do their job quicker, and in return, they're going to come back and try and gank those lanes as much as they possibly can. So we're going to go back to the beginning now, again, level 1, but this time we're going to do it solo by ourselves. No teammates to support us, so we'll have to use a stolen power, either consume or detonate. Now, I think it's quite important to note which camps to use consume and detonate on in the early game. And these 6 camps is what I recommend that you'd use them on or save them for. Because they're slightly tougher to kill, and you want to kill them quicker, and detonate and consume will do that much quicker. I can guarantee you that. So try and save it for those camps. But if somebody's trying to steal the other camps away from you and you have detonate or consume up, use it. Okay, so when you're soloing the first camps, which are usually the health destroyers or the speed destroyers, which are quite tough, always open up with the Bat Swarm. This is Nightmare Batman's AoE skill. It does damage to surrounding drones, etc. But it's not enough here, so bam, I use the detonate. And I'm taking damage, so what I want to do now is actually use one of these health packs down here. This will give me more sustain. It will regen my health a little bit quicker while I'm taking damage from this health destroyer. And basically, it just keeps me in a healthier position for the next camps that I'll have to fight as well. Even though most of these drones actually do drop a health pack, some of them aren't that big, so it's always good to make sure that you're potting up while you're attacking your next drones. And then same again, I'm going to use the Bat Swarm in here, and then I'm going to attack the smaller drones first. I want to eliminate that extra damage coming in on me, and now I can focus down the big drone. Now, it's important to note that I've not used my consume stolen power yet, because I'm saving it for, well, a rainy day, a harder drone camp to fight, and I'm going to fight one now. And we're going to start it off the same as we did at level 1. Bat Swarm opening up first, using the Batarang as well now. And then I'm going to use a health pack, and then my consume ability, which does damage and also heals me back for 65 HP as well. Now, you really want to spread your stolen powers out at the start. You really want to be able to aim for 2 of these destroyers at the start. The Agile Destroyer, the Health Destroyer is always a good bet. They're usually in your half of the map, easy to achieve, unless they don't have a jungler. But what it does, it gives you these 2 power-ups that are great for you to support your team with. Even though you're not in the lane necessarily, you can drop them to, you know, save them from running away from a horrible gank or heal up a lane that is losing at the moment. So that's some great team potential for the jungler, and that's why it's so important to have a jungler stealing all these power-ups in the jungle. So let's go back to this original footage where Star Sapphire gave you that huge start on that Health Destroyer, and I haven't used any of my stolen powers yet either, but I can see that Doomsday and Star Sapphire on the enemy team are in a good position to actually get an early gank on them. Now, potentially I won't get a kill here, but what I want to do is just get some early damage on. What does this do is basically it helps my teammates dominate this lane from early on. You know, they can control it a lot better, they can farm it a lot better now, because the enemy are essentially too low health to actually come back into the lane. They might have to back, or they're going to be a lot more cautious and maybe not up front and try and steal those drones in the actual creep wave there. So as soon as I'm done though, I am back into the jungle. It's important to maintain your farming speed constantly as a jungler. Over ganking too much like that, where there's no beneficial credit lead, because I didn't get a kill, I didn't gain any experience, it just helped the lane momentum out. If you keep doing stuff like that, what's going to happen is you're going to get no levels, you're going to get no experience, you're not going to get no credits, and you're going to fall behind. And the time you're in the mid game, it's really going to hurt you. So there are 2 things really that really help you out early on in the game, is buying and building the right items. So I'm maxing out my Bat Swarm, this helps me clear out the jungle quicker, and also maxing out my Marauder Knife. As you see, as soon as I had 500 credits, I ran to a friendly tower and I bought Marauder Knife 2. And that's a good thing about this game, is you can buy at the towers, and with Nightmare Batman that means you never have to go back essentially if you play him correctly. But getting items like this and those skills early on will maximize your potential to clear out the jungle so much quicker and get levels so much quicker. This gives you more time to go around doing map objectives, and also more importantly those ganks that your teammates need to sustain their lanes, or you know, if they're falling behind in their lanes, to help them out. And so remember, getting those core builds right at the start will help you maximize your jungle potential. But not only that, the second option is learning how to read the mini map properly. So I'm going to bring up the Gotham Divided map here and show you some examples of when a good opportunity is to gank and when's not a good opportunity to gank. I've split the map into 2 halves, the red team and the blue team, and you've got to imagine on your minimap that there's an invisible line down the middle, and once you cross over that line, you're basically a target to be ganked. And so Nightmare Batman here and Doomsday, who have highlighted, Doomsday's in a great position to get ganked, and Nightmare Batman's farming in the jungle and is in a good position to come out of the jungle and gank the lane, because Doomsday's given himself an opportunity and the travel time is pretty good. So I'm going to go in there, have a bit of a nibble basically with Nightmare Batman. Maybe I'll pick up a kill, maybe I won't, but I can soon return to the jungle and start farming again. So not much time was wasted. But if we look at the top lane, for instance, we have Gaslight Joker and Wonder Woman up there. Now, that's a good opportunity for a gank as well, but bear in mind, I'm right at the bottom of the map here. This would take forever to get up there. I'd waste so much time getting up there, and Gaslight Joker could just disappear off the lane. I'd waste time, experience, and levels. So I need to look at my options here now, and I'm looking around the map and I see Gaslight Batman, he's by his tower on the blue half. I see Doomsday, he's back on his blue half. And they're, you know, very defensive setup right now from the blue team. There's nothing for me to do but jungle and keep up my farm that way. Now, I will just have to be patient until something opportunic comes up, that somebody overextends or they're low health enough for me to actually jump out of the jungle and finish them off. So you really just got to keep reading that mini-map as best as you possibly can. Imagine that line down the center of Gotham Divided, and once they're on your half, that's a really good position for you to come out and help out. So this jungle guide is truly massive. So I'm going to split it up into 2 parts. There's a lot of topics to cover in this particular guide, so hence I'm making it a 2-parter. Please like, comment, subscribe on Infinite Guides, even dislike, tell me what you didn't like, etc. And post comments and any questions, anything you think I've left out or what I should be covering in the next lesson for the jungle. Please leave it in the comments. And thanks for watching, guys. Check out the next lesson, Jungle Part 2.